this topic of development of dentition in short. Here again, we have lots of short notes that usually come in your section B of your theory paper. That is, we have 4 periods of occlusal development. That is, number 1, we have the prenatal period from birth to 6 months of age. You have the deciduous dentition, which is from 6 months to 3.5 years till all your deciduous teeth have erupted. You have a mixed dentition, which starts from the eruption of your first permanent tooth at the age of 6 to the 13 years or 14 years, and you have the permanent dentition period. In the prenatal period, you have what is called as gum pad. The alveolar process at the time of birth is called as a gum pad. They are horseshoe-shaped pads that are pink, firm and covered with a layer of dense periosteum. They are divided into 2 parts, labiobuccal and lingual by dental groove. The gum pad is further divided into 10 segments by transverse groove. Each segment has one developing tooth sac. A very important landmark in gum pads is lateral sulcus, which is the transverse groove between canine and first molar. This is helpful in predicting inter-arch relation at a very early age. Here again, remember, my dear students, few papers. I am sure that you are very fond of referring Balani. So you will get this short note in the Balani book. That this is a short note that has appeared in one of the papers. In the second phase of deciduous dentition, you have a phenomena called as plus terminal plane. Plus terminal plane. See in the diagram, we have shown you 3 diagrams on the left side. In the center, we have shown you what is plus terminal plane. It is of significance to note that the mandibular second primary molar has a greater mesodistal diameter than the maxillary second molar. This difference in dimension makes the distal surface of both the molars to fall in same vertical plane in centric occlusion, and such an arrangement is called as plus terminal plane. Moyers has described on the left side, if you see below the diagram, Moyers has described 3 possible kinds of primary molar relationship. That is straight, that is what is being mentioned just now, plus terminal plane. Or it forms a mesial step as it is shown in figure 3, or it forms a distal step. You can take a picture, you can take a snap of this thing so that it becomes self-explanatory. Next, all the 4 things which we are going to discuss in the succeeding slides are important as short notes. So we started with number 1, number 2, plus terminal plane relationship, number 3, next. We see this phenomena in mixed dentition, that is a period from where the permanent teeth start erupting. This is called as ugly duckling stage. What is this ugly duckling stage? If you see the diagram of the figure is self-explanatory. We have shown you one diagram at the age of 7 years, one at 9 years, and one at 14 years. So description is, as the permanent maxillary canines erupt, they displace the roots of maxillary lateral incisors mesially. This force is transmitted to the central incisors, and their roots are also displaced mesially. Thus, the resultant force causes the distal divergence of the crown in an opposite direction, leading to midline space. This is called ugly duckling stage or Broadbent phenomena. Why ugly? Because the appearance of the teeth or the arrangement of teeth looks ugly. But here, friends, my dear students, try to remember that this condition corrects itself of the canine after the canines have erupted. The canines after eruption apply pressure to the crowns of the incisors, thereby causing them to drift back to original positions. No orthodontic treatment should be attempted at this stage, as there is danger of deflecting the canine from its normal path of eruption. This is sometimes referred to as self-correcting malocclusions, my dear students. Self-correcting malocclusions. These malocclusions are temporary, related to the age. They correct once the permanent canines have erupted. Draw this diagram if this comes as a short note, so that diagram explains everything. Diagram at the age of 7 years, 9 years, 14 years. Self-explanatory. Next. This is another phenomenon that you will see in case of mixed dentition, that is called as Leeway space of Nance. You see the diagram on the left, CDE combined with 345 combined with. Leeway space is equal to CDE plus CDE minus 3, 4 and 5. What does it mean? It means the combined mesodistal width of permanent canine and premolars is less than that of deciduous canine and molars. This extra space is called Leeway space of Nance and is utilized by mandibular molars to establish classical relationship through late mesial shape. In millimeters, this Leeway space is 1.8 millimeters, that is 0.9 millimeters on each side in maxillary arch, and 3.4 millimeters, that is 1.7 millimeters unilaterally in mandibular arch. Here again, reason why it is more in mandibular arch, because in case of mandibular arch, the second deciduous molar is wider as compared to the maxillary second molar, and the dimension of second deciduous molar is more than that of second premolar. This excess space is called as E space. Here again, I request you to click a picture Remember this diagram, draw this diagram, label it, and you write the text whatever is needed. There is no reason why you will not get 85-90% marks if you answer it this way. This again is another very important phenomenon that is occurring in case of mixed dentition, that is called as incisal liability. See, everything is self-explanatory. Incisal liability. Why it is liability? Because it is said that the deciduous incisors are replaced by permanent incisors during this phase. This period of transition is from 6.5 to 8.5 years. The permanent incisors are larger as compared to their primary counterparts and thus require more space for the alignment. This difference between space available and space required is called the incisal liability. This liability is 7 mm for maxillary arch and 5 mm for mandibular arch. We move on to the next chapter of growth and development, that is functions of orofacial region. It has got basic 5 functions, that is, it has got number 1, mastication, deglutation, respiration, speech, and passive muscle function. Functions of orofacial region: mastication, complex activity aimed at breaking down and insalivation of the food prepared to swallowing. Mastication, according to Murphy, it has got 6 phases. That is, it has got the preparatory phase, it has got the food contact phase, it has got the crushing phase, it has the tooth contact phase, it has got the guiding phase, and it has got the centric occlusion phase. Deglutation, there are 2 main forms. Here again, you sometimes get a short note on retained infantile swallow. So if you have to mention what is retained infantile swallow, you should know what is the basic infantile swallow and how does it differ from the matured swallow. So in this chart, if you see on the left side, what is infantile swallow? What happens in the infantile swallow is that the jaws are apart and the tongue is placed between the upper and the lower gums. The mandible is stabilized by the contraction of muscles of the 7th laryngeal nerve and the interposed tongue. The swallow is guided to a large extent controlled by sensory interchange between the lips and the tongue. And the tongue is contained within the dental arches, and the mandible is no longer protruded. This heralds the onset of mature swallow. This heralds the onset of the mature swallow. This is unlike what you have in case of mature swallow. In case of a child, in case of an infant, when the teeth are not present, this is what is the phenomena. And in case of mature swallow, it is seen after a year of life, that is gradual occurrence. The deglutation occurs in 4 phases, that is number 1, the preparatory swallow, the oral phase, the pharyngeal phase, and the esophageal phase. Here again, try to write at least 1 or 2 sentences on each phase, that is in case of preparatory phase. The food bolus is placed on the tongue, oral seal is achieved, then by a movement of the tongue, the bolus is pushed into the pharynx, goes into the esophagus, and thus it completes the mature swallow.